time out of your day or your evening, whenever you're watching this, to hang out with me. So today's video is all things IVF. I just felt like it was important to kind of give a little more detail about our journey, our protocol, where we are with IVF, what is IVF, what is our protocol, and just things to expect, the misconceptions, maybe even some tips in how I am able to maintain my joy and my faith during this grueling process. So if you're interested in what I have to say, please stay tuned. Okay, you guys, so to start this video, I first think I'm just going to start like, what is IVF? Because I know there are a lot of people who do not know what IVF is. You may have heard of someone from the church or somebody's baby sister, little cousin, auntie, who had trouble conceiving naturally back in the day, you know, may have had some type of unconventional method. You knew she went to the doctor and came home pregnant, but you ain't know exactly what happened. Auntie had IVF. You know, so I just want to talk about those things because, and this is not secluded to the African American community, so don't come there. But I know a lot of the times, because I am an African American woman, I can speak for my community. There's so many misconceptions about what IVF is and how, especially if you are a Christian, how you just need to pray to the Lord and wait on God and trust God and have faith. But that ain't always it. Having faith is going to the doctor, and this whole process is nothing but faith. And it's just so many stereotypes and misconceptions and misinformed information. And just, I hate to say it, but you know, ignorance is a word. But there's so much ignorance when it comes to this topic. And I think it's just out of plain fear. You know, we don't want to be judged. You know, this can be a very embarrassing and hurtful and just grueling process altogether. And speaking of a person who went through all of those emotions, plus I can definitely tell you that I had been through my share of embarrassment and feelings of being ashamed and all of the above, you know. And so it's just good that we are educated on what this process is and what it means, and you know what our process is and how we're handling it. So to start, IVF, in vitro fertilization, is when the egg and the semen are met in a petri dish, and embryo, prayerfully, hopefully, faithfully, is formed outside of the body. Simple as that. In normal conception, a man and a woman have sex and sperm is released. And hopefully during ovulation time, the egg meets the sperm, and then it swims on into the egg, and voila, you're pregnant. Well, for women like me, that's not the case. We have to do it a little unconventional. And so we have to go to a doctor, and we have to have something called an egg retrieval, which I'm going to get into. And then I'll go more into all of how the process is handled. But pretty much overall, IVF is conception outside of the body into a petri dish. Okay? So, our IVF protocol was the antagonist protocol, also considered the short protocol. And pretty much what the antagonist protocol is when you start with birth control. So the way mine work, I had to call on the first day of my cycle. Initially, I was supposed to start in December. At the time when my cycle started, we were out of the country. And so it kind of delayed my cycle a bit. And then I had some things going on with my cycle when I did return home to go to the doctor. So technically, I did not start my IVF cycle until January of 2020. So the first day of my cycle in January, I had to call my doctor's office. I immediately began taking the birth control. And when you call, they usually set up your baseline appointment. and blood work. At your baseline appointment, they're pretty much looking at, it's a transvaginal ultrasound, and they're looking at the lining of your uterus, just making sure that there's no polyps or no cysts, no fibroids, which I do have. As I told you guys in the previous video, fibroids were rediscovered sometime a year and a half ago, about a year ago. Yeah, so that's how you start. You start with the birth control, and then from there, they do your baseline. As long as your baseline and your blood work, when they're just checking your LH, FSH, and I think your estrogen, as long as everything looks good in your blood work and from your baseline ultrasound, you're good to start stems. Everyone's stem cycle is completely different. Your stem cycle is totally based off of your body, your hormones, and what works best for you. My protocol was the Gonal F pen, the 900 IU Gonal F pen. I had the 40 IUs of HCG, and then towards the end of my stem cycle, somewhere around day 6, day 7 of stems, I started adding ganirelix to my stem cycle. I did stems for maybe 12 or 13 days. I want to say 12 or 13 days approximately. And then we did the Lupron and Novarel for my trigger shot on February the 5th. And my egg retrieval was on Friday, February the 7th. I had 24 eggs were retrieved. Out of the 24 eggs that were retrieved, we had 9 that made it to ICSI insemination, and I will get into what that means. Of the 9 that were inseminated, 8 fertilized into embryos. Of the 8 that fertilized, only 5 made it to day 5 and day 6 of testing, meaning that they made it through testing and they were able to be frozen by day 6. So let me go back a little bit. What is ICSI? And I have so many notes, you guys, so please, please, please bear with me. Well, let me go back real quick about the egg retrieval. So what is the egg retrieval? The egg retrieval, you are under general anesthesia. You go into, okay, just to back a little bit more further. During your stem cycle, the full purpose of the stem cycle is to stimulate your ovaries, okay? It's ovarian stimulation, and what's happening is preparing your ovaries for ovulation. During this stem process, you're literally at the doctor every day. Every day you have a doctor's appointment, and every day you go in, they are checking your follicles, they're checking your blood work, they're checking your FSH hormone, which is your follicle stimulation hormone, and they're checking your LH, which is your luteinizing hormone, all of which are your female anatomy hormones. And then they are also checking your estrogen. And so as long as your follicles are growing, I think mine's had to be between 18 and 20 millimeters. And I was getting pretty frustrated in the beginning because mine did not want to go like past 12 or 13. And then the bulk of them were on my left side. By the end of my stem cycle, my follicles were the size of freaking mangoes. And I was very heavy. It's extremely uncomfortable. Yes, the needles and the injections hurt. I would be lying if I say that they don't. Was it the most pain I've ever endured in my life? Absolutely not. But was it extremely uncomfortable? Absolutely. So your body is preparing for ovulation. That is why you're stemming. You're stimulating your ovaries. So 48 hours before your egg retrieval, you take the trigger shot. The purpose of the trigger shot is to prepare your ovaries for ovulation. It's telling your ovaries now it's time to release those eggs. So what happens is you take the trigger shot 48 hours prior to your 36 hours prior to your egg retrieval. So your doctor will tell you the exact time that you need to do this trigger based off of the time that your egg retrieval is scheduled. And so That's what happens. And once we got to the hospital, I was placed under general anesthesia. And what they do is they take this long little needle and they insert it into the follicles to retrieve eggs. And now, granted, all follicles do not formulate eggs. And you can have 5 follicles and 30 eggs, or you can have 30 follicles and 4 eggs. So it's just a matter of your body. This process is not a one-all is all. Every single woman is different. We can have the exact protocol and everything could be totally different. So ladies, if this is something that you are going through, please do not compare yourself to others. Okay? There may be similarities. You and old girl may have had the same amount of eggs retrieved, but out of your 50, you had 25 fertilized. Out of her 50 eggs, she only had 5 fertilized. So you cannot compare your journey to the next woman's journey. Each one of our journeys are different, okay? Embrace your journey, have faith in your journey, and just go with that, okay? So there is the PGS testing, the pre-genetic testing. I could be saying that totally wrong, you guys. We chose not to do it. We just didn't feel as though it was cost effective in the end. It can get real expensive, but to each his own, you know. And I'm not going to go into PGS testing because I know it's a whole lot of morals and all that stuff that goes with that. So y'all can keep that. Okay, sis? Keep that one. But we had to do the ICSI insemination, and I wrote that down. It's the intracytoplasmic sperm injection, and pretty much it's a new specialized method of IVF where the sperm is injected into the egg. So on the old traditional way, they will take your husband's sperm or your spouse or your donor's sperm and take his sperm, take your egg, throw it in a dish, release thousands of sperms into the dish with your egg in hopes that one of those little sperms will be the lucky winner and slide inside the egg. And so it's more of the conventional conception, you know, the conventional intercourse conception, but it's in a petri dish. Well, with ICSI insemination, they are literally taking a single sperm and inserting it, implanting it into that egg to help it formulate or develop into a embryo. And so we had nine ICSI inseminated, and of those 9, 8 actually fertilized and 5 made it to blastocysts, or little M babies, as what they're called in the IVF community. So we have 5 little M babies on ice so far. 5 little babies. Trying to make sure I didn't leave nothing out about the egg retrieval. So that's the egg retrieval portion, okay? It took about 2 weeks for my cycle to come back on. I was extremely bloated. I literally looked 8 months pregnant. Hubby was loving it. I was not. I was extremely constipated, backed up, whatever you want to call it. Just very, very, very uncomfortable. And if for those who may have had anesthesia in the past, you may know the side effects that it has on your body. And then my body just coming down from all of those hormones that stimulated me and making me feel pregnant, on top of the medications that I was still having to take outside of the injection medications. It took roughly 2 weeks for my cycle to start. Once my cycle started, I've never been so excited for a menstrual cycle to come on in my life, you guys, okay? When that cycle started, I was around here running as much pain, and I was in some pain, okay? I'm running around this house, jumping and crying and screaming for joy because my cycle came on, okay? And so, so that's the next phase. The next phase is transfer. So what happens is after your egg retrieval, you are supposed to call your facility. the first day of your cycle, and the birth control round starts again. You start your birth control, you do your baseline and your ultrasound. You do your baseline ultrasound and you do your blood work. From there, they set you up for your FET consult or your in my case, it is the FET stands for frozen embryo transfer as well as fresh embryo transfer, based off of your body and everything in which your doctor feels is best for you will determine what type of embryo transfer you will have. Frozen was the best way for us to go. And so I was set up for my FET consult, which is this coming Friday, March the 6th. And then on March the 9th, I have my saline sonogram ultrasound as well as my mock trial transfer. So first I'm gonna get into what the saline sonogram ultrasound is, and pretty much it's a transvaginal ultrasound. They sit there and they put the saline solution inside of your uterus, and it's basically to help them see if there's anything abnormal with your uterus, i.e. polyps, cysts, fibroids, anything that will prevent you from having a successful pregnancy. Is the whole purpose of this sonogram and the mock trial transfer. Because I have a history of endometriosis and fibroids, along with miscarriage, it is in my best interest that I have the saline sonogram. I think it's also known as SHG. And prior to my mock trial transfer, during the mock trial transfer, they pretty much do everything they do on the day of your transfer, except transferring the thawed embryo into your uterus. So all of that is coming up on March the 6th and March 9th. I will try to record that sonogram experience. Hopefully I can. And I will let you guys know how that went. But so right now I'm pretty much like waiting. I'm in limbo. I am back on birth control pills for right now. I know at the time of my baseline, I was told that the lining of my uterus was extremely thick. So, but again, I was only like on day 2 of my cycle at the time of my baseline appointment. So I'm sure everything looks good, because prior to, my cycle, at every appointment, and I was going to the doctor every day, literally every day. I was at the doctor's office. I was always told that the lining looks good, which is awesome to hear because of my past history. So how am I feeling about the upcoming transfer? I'm very anxious, and we still have about 4 to 5 weeks after the trial transfer before they actually schedule the actual transfer. And one thing about this journey, nothing is definitive. Okay? Do not rely on the dates. To me, dates are just, just little roundabouts. I wouldn't get too caught up on the dates, just because everything is based off of your body. What your body is saying, how that ultrasound look, what the blood work is saying. So don't get too caught up on the dates. Do not be discouraged. That is so easier said than done, right? And I don't know why I have so much joy this cycle. I decided that I was no longer going to allow infertility to control my life. And it's just so amazing that this year marks 8 years. Last year was 7 years. And for all of us who believe in Christ, 7 is the end, And I just feel like year 8 is our new beginning. It's our new beginning. And whatever comes from this, good or bad, we know that we did everything that we could. We were obedient to God's word. And we left no stone unturned. And If I'm never a biological mother, I have been blessed with some beautiful, absolutely beautiful nieces and nephews that can get all of my love and attention. Do I want to be a mother? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I do. Hell yeah, I want to give all of this love and affection that I have to offer to my unborn child. But do I have to be realistic, and do I know that things can happen? Yes, they can, but guess what? I have 5 opportunities. I have 5 opportunities to become a mother, which is 5 more than I had 6 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, you know? And so I'm just saying this to you just to encourage someone out there, because I know there's someone out there right now who is at their breaking point. And I'm telling you, girl, I've been where you are. I know exactly how it feels. I've been in that dark place. I've been in that tunnel, and I seen no light. Nobody could pull me out of that tunnel. And I had to fight and claw my way out of it. And I tell you, girl, I have so much joy in my heart because I'm trusting the process. Even if it fails, I know I did everything I was supposed to do. Everything he told me to do, I did it. So only thing I'm asking you is, even if you are at your lowest, do not give up until you have done absolutely everything, that you have been obedient to whoever you serve, whoever you believe in, whoever you put your trust and your faith in. If you did everything that you were told to do, that's the only time you stop, is when he says so. And so that's where I am. I know I sound like some happy hippie, but I am so happy. I have been so joyous through this entire process, even in my pain. Right now, my tailbone is whipping my ass. Seriously, my sciatic nerve is all messed up. But even in my pain, girl, I just put a heating pad on that thing, take some Tylenol, and be like, look, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Because I've been through so much. I've been through so much in 8 years. And at this point, like, now it's just like, bring it on. What you want to do, Satan? What's up? You know, what's up? We can knuckle up. What's up? What you want to do? That's how I feel. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I did have one more topic, which is thoughts and misconceptions, but I'm not going to get there tonight because I'm already at 24 minutes and going to try to figure out how I'm going to edit this video for y'all to watch the whole thing. But just know, if you never had to deal with IVF, it is not as simple as walking into the doctor's office and being implanted with someone's sperm. It is a very long process, okay? You just can't get pregnant the same way you just can't adopt. Never tell a woman who wants to be a biological mother to just adopt. It is selfish of a person to tell a person that they are being selfish for choosing to do all that they can to become a biological mother. IVF is not cheap, just like adoption is not cheap. And we should not be judging others based off of what they choose to do and what they feel as though is best for them. So just stop with the misconceptions. And if you are really unsure about something, ask. Or you can always holler at Dr. G. Dr. Google, okay? Dr. G will hook you up. He got anything you need. Anything you need, holler at Dr. G and get the answer. But don't be so ignorant to go to a woman who is dealing with this battle. And it's not only women, because there's male factor infertility too. And don't be so ignorant to assume that it's always the woman. In me and my husband's case, I am at fault. I am the reason for our fertility. Although he has a slightly low mobility. His little swimmers, they don't swim as fast, but there's nothing wrong with them. They're not abnormal or anything like that. He had to take some folic acid for that. But there are male factor infertility situations too. And so to automatically blame the woman is extremely ignorant. So it's so much ignorance out there, you guys, that I see on a regular basis. Sometimes I be wanting to cuss some of them folks out, but you know, it ain't worth my joy. You feel me? It ain't worth my peace. It's not, baby. It's not worth it. So I can tell y'all, you know, then you could tell a friend to tell another friend to shut the hell up. How about that? Okay. But I'm just messing around, you guys. I'm extremely joyous. I'm just so thankful the fact that we are even able to do this. Our family who have assisted us with the medications, because sis, they not cheap. Do you hear me? IVF is not cheap. We got to come out of the pocket another $850 just coming on Friday. This is a process. It's a process. It's an expensive process, but it's such a worthy process. And like I said, regardless of what the outcome is, I know that I did everything I was supposed to do. I know I did everything I was supposed to do at the end of the day to assist with me becoming a mother and my husband becoming a father. And that brings me so much joy. So until next video, hopefully it will be of the sonogram and information on my FET consult, just to let you guys know where we are, what's the next steps. Prayerfully, come December, I will be a mother of a beautiful, healthy baby. Only God knows, and only time will tell. As always, thank you for taking the time out of your day or your evening, wherever you are watching this, to hang out with me, Ikea. And always be humble, stay blessed, be beautiful. What is it? Be humble, be beautiful, be blessed. I can't remember. Love you guys. Bye.